Yeah, it is another episode of the Autumn Windbags. RJ Clifford, Juan Soto. Let's have some fun today. Soto is going beanie and jersey. He is so excited.
I wore this fucking Bo Jackson jersey because they're playing in Seattle, and it gave us luck because we had another 2 long touchdown runs. I'll take it.
Josh Jacobs doing his best Bo Jackson impersonation. The Seattle Seahawks, old AFC West rivals, put up 34 points, and that wasn't enough. Raiders win in overtime, 40-34, on the back of one of the great Raiders running back performances from Josh Jacobs. Geno Smith had one of the best games of his career, definitely the best game of this season. Our run defense played fantastic. There's the defense in general came up with some interesting spots despite giving up so many points. In the end, like we say every time, Soto, the Raiders have been a lot of things this season. Boring has not been one of them. Another nail biter and the most exciting game in NFL's Week 12.
Man, as inconsistent as we've played this season, we saw the entire season in this one game.
Mm-hmm.
Big plays given up, big plays made, turnovers made, turnovers caused, dropped interceptions. We had it all. Comebacks, running game, series where we couldn't block, series where we gave everybody ample running room and ample time to throw. It was great. It was just, if we could just find a way to be more consistent, but it was a really telling game for the fact that, yes, this team still wants to win. Yes, they're playing for their coach and for each other.
Mm-hmm. I think this Denzel Perriman, and thank you for the super chat, Raider Wilson 88, very, very much appreciated. Denzel Perriman with an interception. What? Like, he's been the liability. Like, he's our Pro Bowl linebacker, but he's the run stopper, right? He gets an interception, big one, pretty good return too. He's got a little wiggle to him. I think this is a great example. Like, you talked about how this game kind of encapsulates the whole season. I think this interception kind of does, where like the defense again gave up 34 points. The most they've given up all season. The Seahawks, they did come in with the 5th best point scoring offense in football. They averaged 24 points per game. They still got 10 more points than their average. So the streak continues of the Raiders defense giving up more against offenses than their average. But they had their spots, right? Maxx Crosby, shockingly, super clutch at just the right times. The DBs, like you mentioned earlier, in the right spots more often than not. A lot of dropped interceptions. Merrick had like 2 easy dropped ones.
2 easy drops, yeah. Oh, the one in the end zone wasn't an easy one. I mean, he jumped as high, but yeah.
Harmon had one that was called with an overturned on replay. That would have been insane. Like, that was not that wasn't a drop if he didn't get the interception. That was tough, but it was obviously very close to being catchable. And I think that's kind of what this defense has turned into a little bit. Bad, unquestionably. But on the back of Maxx Crosby, he can make the right plays at the right time. And this was the best offense we played in a while, right? So, like, we've played some trash offenses, Broncos, Colts, Texans, New Orleans, like some really, really bad offense.
I don't think New Orleans scored today.
They got shut out. Today. So we played some really, really bad offenses and some really, really bad teams, and our defenses look bad. This was easily, unquestionably, the best win of the season, best team we've beat this season, one of the best offenses we've played since the Chiefs. And yeah, they put up 34 points on us, unacceptable and bad, but the spots, that's the improvement we're looking for, right? That's what we're hoping for. Spots, improvement. Instead of guys just getting beat, they're in the right spot, dropping interception, random guys making random plays like Denzel Perriman. Not a random guy, a Pro Bowler, but not a guy known for his, pass protection skills. Comes up with a big interception.
I mean, I'm not one to give the defense a break, but when your offense turns the ball over twice in their territory, that's tough. And especially twice in the first quarter. They intercepted a ball and ran down to the 12, and then the other one was like on the 49 or 50, something like that. It's, you're going to have a tough time keeping them from scoring. But Perryman, goddamn, almost dropped that shit.
Yeah.
but he that's what he should do in this defense is he should sprint back, not backpedal, sprint back to the spot. And he's the deep middle guy. And for that pass route, that was the perfect defense that we called, and it was executed.
Yeah,
I saw a lot of execution today, and you can give up a lot of yards. You can even give up points as long as you get turnovers. A lot of these defenses that aren't like top flight defenses, they get a lot of turnovers. They give up a lot of yards, but they get sacks when they need to. They get turnovers when they need to.
Which hasn't been the Raiders up until today, right? We had 6 takeaways all season up till today, lowest in the league. Got 2 today, which were big. This is I think Boogie sums it up great. Defense did great minus a few drives. No, you don't give up 34 points and say the defense did great. Like we're just so like dead inside. Like our souls are just shot from terrible defensive play that when we get a couple like great highlights from our defense, we're like, oh, they play great. Like, no, like again, not a good showing, not a correct showing, not a pat ourselves on the back showing, but a trending in the right direction in the right moment showing, which
for sure,
again, with a season that's all but over playoff wise, that's what we're playing for. Improvements, learning schemes, who's sticking around, who's not. That's what we're playing for. So, like, yes, not great, but the baby steps we're looking for from this defense, we saw a lot of them today.
Yeah, our defensive line really stepped up. The interior defense against the run, Billings, you had Nichols, you had Cleve Farrell in there a couple of times, the defensive tackle.
This game's so good, I'm getting hot.
Yeah, right. And then you had, Chandler Jones recover a fumble. You had Maxx with a couple of sacks.
Hey.
Chandler Jones with a couple of sacks. I will give Chandler Jones a little bit extra credit that he deserves normally. He did take away the outlet pass a few times when he actually went out in coverage.
Yeah.
And I noticed that because when he was standing, he was about 50-50 rushing and out in coverage. And he took away the outlet a few times. And that actually caused 1 sack. And the other time it caused a incompletion. Gino couldn't go to his outlet receiver. And
this was the first game when, like, how the coaching staff have been saying, well, Chandler Jones isn't getting, the stats and the sacks and the tackles and all the things we care about, but he's giving us intangibles. It's like, all right, that's just bullshit. No, he hasn't. Today he did.
Today he did.
Today. And it's and this is going to be what like the coaching staff's going to say about Chandler Jones for the next like 4 weeks. Just like, well, he's doing intangibles you just don't see. It's like, okay, he had 1 game of great intangibles. Thank you. That's worth the $30 million. Great, wonderful.
Yeah, he gets $30 million of fumble recovery.
Right. So let's just have a circle jerk over Josh Jacobs and his fantastic game today. 229 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns.
Another 79 in the air, right? Or 75 or something like that?
74, yeah. 6 receptions for 74 yards in the air. Caught 6 of his 7 targets at a 28-yard run. And, of course, obviously, the game ender, that 86. What have we said all the time, especially me, about Josh Jacobs? Awesome. Between the tackles, he's great. A 4-yard run, he turns into a 6. His pass catching's gotten better. His run blocking's good. But he's not the guy that's going to break a big one for you. Like, we're missing that in our offense. We don't have a guy in the offense that's going to break a big one for you.
Bro, 2.
And he broke a 30-yarder for a touchdown today and an 86-yarder to put the coffin nail in the game.
So let me see how if we were looking at the same thing. The most impressive thing that I saw from Josh Jacobs is on the 30-yard run, he had a defensive tackle about to tackle him. He stiff-armed like a 330-pound defensive tackle to the ground and then ran for the touchdown.
Yeah.
Normally, you'd stiff arm a guy who's about your size, or maybe even a little smaller, right?
Yeah.
You don't stiff arm a 330-pound guy. And he stiff armed him with his off arm. I'm pretty sure his right arm is his business arm. But that was impressive.
Beautiful game by him. Can we turn down his 5th-year option every season? Because it's like
that looks like a fucking bad idea now, dude.
I mean, I think we both agreed, and I think everyone agreed. And I think that again, with the evidence they had at the time, it was the right decision, right? $8 million for a injury-prone running back who at the time was just a 2-down back. Again, injuries and 2 downs, and the running back market, and you just drafted Zamir White. Okay, turn down that extent, you know. But I read a great article about how it was actually a really smart move because you're only gambling $1.5 million. So for a first rounder at the time for his position, it would be $8 million to extend him for the 5th-year option, right? If you franchise tag him, it's just $9.5 million. So you're only gambling $1.5 million based on the 4th season. So we still own him if we want him, right? If the Raiders want to part with $9.5 million, which again, a ton of money for a running back, but the ball is still in the Raiders' court. We have not lost Josh Jacobs if that's the the decision they want to make and they want to bite that bullet.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense. Right now, we have to see how the running back market kind of flushes out. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I think now the franchise tag probably would be a smarter move because you want to see them do it a couple of years in a row. Yeah. You want to see, Zamir, see if he can develop. He hasn't shown quite the burst that he showed in college, the burst and the power.
He had a good game today with his very limited carries.
Yeah, really good job. Look at this here. Fishing with Friends says, opinion on DK's incompletion and the fumble they said was down. Well, let's correct this. He didn't say that he was down. The ref said that his forward progress was stopped, which it was, and that's not reviewable. So regardless of what we want to say as far as was he down or was he not down, that wasn't the issue. The issue was he was said to have had his forward progress stopped, and that's when the play ends, regardless of anything happens after that. So that's a correct call.
Super gray area to say that so he got tackled, right? And I forgot who it was, a defensive tackle or linebacker, had him in like a reverse body lock, like a rear standing.
And he was twisting the other way.
And it was falling down, right? Bam. At that point, forward momentum has been stopped, right? And we've seen that happen multiple times where that happens and the running back never touches his knee, hip, shoulder, anything, and kind of like Granby rolls back to his feet, keeps running, and the refs whistle it dead. Like he's still running. Refs like, nope, forward progress stopped. And that's when the fans of the team on offense flip out, right? This is the reverse. This is the situation where he was stopped and it saved us from a fumble because you got both sides of the coin. So at least the refs are consistent with this call, right? Where you get the rear body lock, you're rolling on the ground. They say, okay, forward progress has been stopped.
Yeah, as far as the incompletion, it was an incompletion. I don't know what you want me to tell you.
He rolled out of bounds when he was bobbling.
He rolled and the ball was moving down his body, down to his dick area, and he was out of bounds. Same thing happened to Deron Harmon with this interception. Mm-hmm. The ball was moving, and they said no interception. It's the same thing. So both were correct calls, and depending on how you look at it, it's unfortunate or fortunate that the calls went the way they did. That the referees got the calls correct.
I like Raider Wilson 88. There was some creative play calling. Makes me feel like McDaniel's scheme is coming together. So let's talk about McDaniel's real quick here for a few minutes. I thought this was the best game that showed off his not play calling, like game management play calling, but his play design. Mm-hmm. There were some awesome play designs today that were in full display. The that flea flicker that we had in the second quarter, great design, and everyone sold it. The line, Jacobs, Carr, ran inside the pocket a little bit through it. Maxx sold the block, and Davante Adams drew everybody. He drew a corner and a safety, because if you're seeing a flea flicker happen and you're a DB, you're like, holy shit, where's Davante Adams? Like that should be what you're thinking.
Exactly.
That should be going through your head if you're a decent guy. And then that all just set up Matt Collins wide open. He was high stepping on the 20-yard line. Like this was the shit, Soto, that I thought we'd get 10 times a game with Josh McDaniels. It could be the dumbest quarterback, dumbest receiver in football, but the play design is so well that we get gimmies like this. Like I thought we'd get like 10 of these a game with Josh McDaniels, and we got a couple of them today.
There was only one time today where I was like, "What the fuck are we doing?" And that was the fourth and 1 or 4th and 2 late in the fourth where they did the toss. I'm like, "What the fuck are we doing?"
That was bad.
Everything else. Now look, I watch all the game film, and usually I pull what's left of my fucking hair out, and it just seems like it wasn't a lot different as far as the play calling went. It's just they worked this time.
Yeah.
And so I don't see a big difference in the play calling. A lot of the stuff has been the same. It's just they executed it better. Maybe it's just having the time to practice it more often. Maybe they're setting it up better. Maybe these little things like Holland's hard faking the block before he releases, maybe like makes him wide open. Maybe the line is selling it a little bit better. Who knows? But they're getting better at executing the plays that are being called, and it's shown the last couple of weeks.
Give me. I'm going to give you 3 scenarios from Josh McDaniels' game management, and I want you to give me a thumbs up, thumbs down.
Okay.
End of the half, 38 seconds, 3 timeouts.
End of the game,
for it. Just running for it. Just running the ball, not going for it.
End of the half or end of the game?
End of the first half.
Oh, I was okay with it.
Thumbs up. So thumbs up or thumbs down?
Yeah, honestly, if that's my only 2 options, I would say I'm fine with it. That's thumbs up. Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Okay. Playing for overtime at the end of the fourth. Almost exactly the same situation.
Yeah, it's a thumbs down.
Thumbs down.
Different scenario. Josh Allen had 10 seconds less, and they scored so fast they had enough time to freaking kick off and give them another possession.
That's Carr at his best, right? Like you need 3 points in a 2-minute drill. That's Derek. That's probably Derek Carr's best thing. He's best at, right?
So it comes to does that a trust in his team in overtime or a lack of a trust in his team in regulation? Who knows? Mm-hmm. It could be just nothing. It could be, you know what? It's too far, too little time. Let's just, not make a mistake. He is very risky. So I mean, I would have liked to have at least tried. Yeah, you had your timeouts, spread everyone out and get some stuff deep over the middle.
And your offense is rolling. Like 56-yard field goal attempt in overtime when it's 4th and 6.
I mean, it's Carlson. I don't have a problem with it. Thumbs up.
Okay.
You got plenty of leg. You just missed it. I don't have a problem with that.
Even with Carlson, 56. Well, it's rough for 2 reasons, right? Like, expect Carlson's the fucking man, right? Like, okay, you missed a 56-yarder. Like, I still worship the ground you walk on. But the downside is you only need like 25. If he misses, you only need like 25 yards to get in field goal range. Let's start a new trend. And the offense and the defense have been playing great at that time. Like, luckily, Maxx Crosby, right, and stopped that drive. But
yeah.
If you're risk averse, that's really fucking risky because you're like, all right, if we don't make this, they only need 25 yards, and then they win the game on a 40-something yard field goal.
Yeah, but I mean, if you have that kind of supreme confidence in your kicker, he's showing you he can make it. I don't have an issue with it.
Okay. Best pass blocking performance by our offensive line this season. True or false?
I think last week was really good too.
I think it was unquestionably the best of the season, even though last week was pretty good.
Last week's pressure rate was like 28%. So he had no pressure 72% of the time. So that was really damn good. I mean,
and it was a better defense last week than this week.
Yeah.
So.
I'd say it's about on par with last week. I think it was really good. But it's like picking between your kids. There's obviously one that's your favorite than the other one. Like your 2 dogs, you obviously love one more than the other one a little bit. I don't know how much money dozers cost you, right?
$3,700 with just 1 surgery.
That wasn't Dozer though. That was Bruce.
Oh, that was Bruce. Yeah, Dozer's the one with like he gets like ringworm and like random shit.
Yeah, that's a couple hundred here and there. That's not
Yeah,
$3,700 one pub.
He adds up quick. Can we talk about Amir Abdullah's roundhouse kick and how much it needs work? Like,
I thought it was all right.
He landed, he landed that strike, that heel strike clean on Diggs' shoulder, and Diggs didn't even like flinch. Like he walked like 5 more yards and like looked around and like.
Yeah, if you're gonna get a 15-yard penalty for that, at least if you can knock him over.
I mean, if you're gonna like spinning axe kick somebody, at least have him kind of like shake a little bit, you know.
At least have him sell it.
All for show. It's gotta have some function to it.
You gotta sell it a little bit,
right?
I don't know.
Let's get into Derek Carr because we have varying opinions, obviously, of him in the first quarter. So overall, 25 of 36, 295 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. 2 of those touchdowns, brilliant play calling. Another one of those touchdowns, good ball.
Nice ball. Yeah, really nice ball to Foster Moreau.
Good catch, all that.
So good protection.
Good again, like I said, I think that protection, not against as good of a pass rush as last season or last week, but whatever. I thought Carr had a good game. He went 9 straight games with 2 turnovers or 2 picks. He had 2 today. And that's what I think it's up for debate. And I'm curious what you guys listening think as well on the amount of blame for those 2 interceptions. The first interception looked like an over route to Davante Adams. To me, it looked like Soto. Davante didn't get his head around fast enough. His right hand kind of just did one of these, just kind of like windshield wipered, a half-assed attempt, and it went right under his arm into the DB's arms. If Davante gets his head around in time and just puts his hands in position, that's a 20-yard catch.
Mm-hmm.
Yes? No? What say you?
I mean, yeah, if he puts his hands out, right? But if we're going to lay blame on either one of, if not the best receiver in the league, running a route, or the quarterback not throwing the ball on time or throwing the ball early or whatever, I'm going to blame. If you ask me to blame somebody on a route combination, on a route being thrown, or throw a ball not being thrown on time, whether early or late, I'm going to blame Carr on that.
Well, you know, Adams is a better receiver than Carr is a quarterback, but that throw, it was.
Look, if he's not expecting it because the route isn't meant to be caught at that time, and he gets his head around on time, but the ball came early.
I felt like that was a later throw than early.
I mean, who knows where the ball was supposed to be? But if you don't have that information, I'm gonna side with Davante Adams on that.
Okay. I'm gonna side with Carr. I think it looked
shocking.
I can't wait. Yeah, well, shocking. You're gonna go against Carr.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna go against Carr. I'm going for the best receiver in the fucking NFL.
The best receiver in the NFL still sometimes doesn't get his head around and blows it sometimes,
especially when it's DC. That's when he blows it.
What did I say about?
What do you say, guys?
What did I say about this? That's untrue. Like Davante didn't get his head around, just kind of waved his arm, and it went under his arm to the DB.
So he didn't kind of just wave. He didn't kind of just wave his arm. He turned his head, and the ball was right there. So he tried to knock it away. That's the fastest thing he could have done, is get one arm up because the ball's already here. Oh shit, that's what happened. You're saying like, he made a half-ass attempt. That was like, I'm gonna turn my head and I see the ball there. I'm gonna have to try to freaking smack it away at the last second.
So get your head around.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is there's no stat, there's no NAFI, there's no not at fault interception. You know, it is what it is. There's plenty of times where Davante Adams saved his ass, taking balls away from other guys. It is what it is.
Not this time.
You know, it is what it is.
The second interception is to Foster Moreau. Was it play action? It was play action, right?
Yeah, both of them were play action, I think.
Both of them play action, right? Play action, Foster Moreau. Sorry. Down the middle. It wasn't triple coverage. It was double. He was double covered. And he tried to thread the needle. Bad decision. Bad decision by Derek Carr. I thought the ball was good. Bad decision, good pass. it was a great play by the linebacker. Like he got up. Like it was a great play by the linebacker.
Yeah.
And even then, the ball did clap off the hands of Foster. So I will acquiesce, poor decision, but I will say the ball was good and Foster could have pulled that in. But the linebacker did make a really fucking stellar play.
It all kind of gets thrown in the pot. You don't throw the ball to Foster Moreau in double coverage for this reason. The ball, as the very second the ball touched his hand, the linebacker hit the ball. So it's like, it wasn't like Foster Moreau if he had better hands. Like, no one's catching that ball. As soon as the ball touches your fingers, someone's smacking it away with as hard as they can swipe for a ball. He didn't have even a chance to freaking close his hands. It kind of just touched his hand, and that's why you don't throw that ball. Even though the ball was as far as the small windows to get that ball in there, it was a great ball.
Normally, Carr is inverted. Normally, the decision is good, the pass is bad. This time, the decision was bad, pass was awesome.
But that's why that's a bad decision, because they're in position to make that play. You got two guys in the position to make that play. It just wasn't a good decision. Could it have? I mean, you can throw the ball up to double coverage to Davante Adams, and he can catch the ball, more than half the time. But it doesn't mean it's a good decision to do it. Hey, buddy, you gotta get out of here.
We're gonna answer this question every single time the Raiders win this season by Sam A. We not tanking anymore. We never were.
I don't think we were.
We never were. This is what a tanking team look. A tanking team looks like this. The super young guys are getting a lot of play. The super expensive guys are not. And the game planning looks different. There's a giant difference between just losing and not playing well and not executing and not being coached well, not executing well, and all the elements, and tanking. Before the trade deadline, we didn't bail on anybody. We weren't just dumping guys for draft picks. We weren't.
I mean, kind of.
No, we weren't. We got some baby ones, like a 6th for a 7th. Like nothing tanking. It was just like, all right, we got this these fringe players. Let's get.
I wouldn't say tanky, but we did get rid of Hankins. We got rid of Hankins.
We got rid of Hankins for nothing. There had to have been something there. There was more to it than like a 6th for a 7th to get rid of Hankins. Like there was, and a cheap player. It wasn't like we were needed the cap space. There was something.
I mean, yeah, I don't think we're tanking. Steve the Cockfighter says the ball was high over the middle, 3 defenders around him. That's on the quarterback for taking that chance. If you're going to take that chance, take it with Davante Adams. Don't take it with Foster Moreau.
Again, bad decision. But it could have been, but it required a great play by the linebacker and a semi-drop by Foster, right?
I wouldn't call that a semi-drop.
It's a semi-drop. It bounced off both his hands.
Oh, my God.
Both his hands.
I wouldn't call that even a quarter of a drop. If the guy's in position to make the play, it's not a drop.
I wish you treated Derek Carr with as much leash as you treat every other member of the Raiders.
It's not a drop when the defender knocks it out of your hand. It's not a drop. A drop is when it hits your hands and you drop it and nobody touches you or nobody knocks the ball away. That's a drop. He knocked the ball out of his hand. It's not a drop. I don't know what to say.
So he knocked the ball out of both of his hands.
So yeah,
both his hands in his hands and got it.
No. He didn't catch it. See, now you're trying to play with.
I didn't say he caught it. I said I'm agreeing with you. He knocked the ball out of both of Foster Moreau's hands.
It doesn't matter if it was 3 of his hands and his dick. Okay, he didn't have a chance to even close his hands or his
half
dick.
A ball and a taint.
Nope, no foreskin or nothing.
I love this question by London Raider. 8-9 might get a wild card. Some big schedule matchups coming up.
Chargers look beatable. They look very beatable. They did not play great. They won, but they did not play good today.
Here's another way to put it by Sam A. Want to be 8-9 or better draft picks? This is great question, and it sounds like I'm sitting on the fence, but this is how I truly believe. If we're 8-9 and we don't get a top 5 or top 7 pick, and we still don't go to the playoffs at 8-9, I like that if we're 8-9 because guys are clicking. We're starting to figure out Josh McDaniels' offense, starting to figure out Patrick Graham's defense. We've picked the players that can execute the way that we want. We found our stroke in the right way. Like if we're 8-9 because of games like today, where we see, again, our defense is still our defense, but progression and exactly the right progression that we want, then yes, I'd rather be that 8-9 and be 10 picks down in the draft or whatever number it may be. If we're 8-9 because we're just kind of teams are playing terrible against us, we're squeaking by, whatever, then no, I'd rather have the draft pick, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, look, the way we're playing now and the way we played a lot of the season for the majority of games, we're not a bad team. We are a bad team because of those stretches, right? If things are coming around and things are getting better and things are starting to click and you start seeing some progression here, you just see what happens. You see where the season takes you. We got a lot of needs on this team, man. Look, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I think we all know we have a lot of needs on this football team. So it's not like one player is going to make a huge difference here. We need a lot of things. So it doesn't really matter. I mean, if we're in that kind of mid range, if we're in that 10 to 15 range, if we're in that 10 to 15, this fucking guy. If we're in that 10 to 15 range, I would say we even trade back if someone wants to trade up for somebody because we have so many needs. The issue comes into play is what are you going to do with a lot of your high-priced players that you can get out of? What are you going to do with the Josh Jacobs of the world? What are you going to do with the Carrs? What are you going to do with Waller? What are you going to do with Renfro, who both haven't given you much this year? What are you going to do with Colton Miller? Last year we played great without him. Last game against the Broncos we played great without him. What are we going to do with a lot of these players when we have a lot of other needs? It's a lot of decisions that needs to be made. And that's why a lot of these guys on this team right now are continuing to push and push and push because they're going to be more valuable to this team than they are going to be to another team if they go hit free agency.
Really good point by London Raider. Waller and Renfro are back next week. Is that true? Is that the third game without him already on IR?
No, I think the next week will be the fourth game.
That's what I thought. I think we get Hobbs back next week.
Yes.
I don't think
Hobbs should be back next week.
Or eligible to come back.
Comes back. I think he's going to be fine. He's had 8 weeks now, something like that. How long is the break? Is 6 weeks? He should be fine.
So I'm on vacation in Mammoth right now, and I'm literally using a toaster in the condo as my mic stand, which is why things are falling around everywhere. That's why I'm all blue.
I thought you were blue because you were holding your breath.
I was holding my breath all game. The end of my ass is super sore because I've been on the edge of my seat all day.
Whoa. Is that kind of trip or what?
Yeah. Having a great time. Derek Carr, now 9-1 in overtime, 27 fourth quarter comebacks, 33 game-winning drives. Is Derek Carr the best overtime quarterback in NFL history?
Yeah, I mean, we just need to get the games to overtime because he's got 32 overtime and fourth quarter win, 32 comeback or overtime wins, and he's got 61 total. Mm-hmm. So yeah, he's shitty everywhere else, but let's just get it to overtime.
Shitty everywhere else.
I mean, he's got fucking 30 wins. He's 30 and 100 something.
There's no better sign that someone doesn't know what they're talking about when they put a quarterback's record, like win-loss record, exclusively on the quarterback to gauge the quarterback. It's like an easy sign that this guy is either super biased or dumb.
Bad quarterbacks don't normally miss the playoffs, but whatever.
Bad defenses do. We definitely do.
You've seen bad defenses win Super Bowls with good quarterbacks.
How many? How many bad defenses have won Super Bowls?
At least 2 I can think of off the top of my head.
Out of 58 Super Bowls? Good stat. I like this question.
Okay, before we go any further, I saw a stat that even if the Raiders gave up the league average in points every season, the Raider offenses would still have scored 1.6 or 1.5 points below that because the offenses were poor too. So let's stop crying, for me, Argentina with Derek
The
Carr.
Raiders have been absolutely atrocious for 20 years. No offense, defense.
So here's the deal. You can't shit on the Raiders organization for making poor decisions and then keeping Derek Carr for all these years is like the only good one that they've made.
They've made a handful of good decisions. Not many. They've made a handful. Again, I don't know.
Like extending Derek Carr the first time and extending Derek Carr the second time. It's
not
a Carr thing.
Nobody
it's not
argued.
a Carr thing, but
there wasn't a single person that said the first Derek Carr extension was a bad idea.
Everyone blames me. Everyone blames me for making this like, oh, you always make it a Carr thing when RJ's saying these obviously like ridiculous things. And like, oh, you hate Derek Carr. All right, whatever, man.
What did I say that was so ridiculous?
I mean, we can start from the beginning of the show and just let it play.
I'm all ears. Name one.
Okay, next time. Well, next on the Wednesday show.
You think we have?
That Foster Moreau had an almost drop. It was a semi drop by Foster Moreau. Get the fuck out of here.
You can shut up because Sam May's giving us $5. Jacob
Thank you,
kept running through the tunnel, a la Bo Jackson. How fucking sweet would that have been?
Dude, look, I don't know if you caught that, but when he crossed the end zone, he went like this, and then he went like this. Like he was gonna flip off the fucking the crowd, but then he fucking threw his finger
up. You can't get an unsportsmanlike penalty when the game's over, baby.
Oh God, that was so good.
He could have dropped trowel and taken a shit in the end zone. It's like, did you see
Matt Collins? Did you see Matt Collins behind him doing all this shit?
Dude, Matt Collins has in back-to-back games, he's called the touchdown before it's gotten there. Like, there's been so last week, there's a great shot when Davante caught the game winner, and Matt Collins is like doing this, and there's like a shot of like it just catches Hollins, and his hands are up before Davante catches the ball. Great shot. He's like calling it before it's even there. Same thing today. He did another one of those where he's like hands up, the ball's still in the air, like, yep, touchdown.
That's a touchdown.
I know we got that.
Hollins is like the biggest troll. Like, he was like, what last week was the bye bitch.
Yep.
Right. And this week, when he scored his touchdown, he fucking did this and went like, kicked it like, fuck that. And then this week, when Jacobs and the winning touchdown is running, he's behind him fucking doing all this crap.
What's Max's contract? Is he a 1 year guy?
I think he got another year. I think it was 2.
He's a 2 year guy?
Yeah.
I fucking love Mac. I love Mac.
Boogie says, tell Merrick to spend time with a jug machine or a girl with big jugs.
That was him last season. That was him this season. That was especially him today. Like he could have poised himself to be a very, very rich man. If he would just caught the easy ones. If he was above average catching interceptions, he'd be a very rich man. If he was just catching the easy ones.
Matt Collins was a 1 year contract. Fuck.
That makes more sense.
Signed a 1 year contract.
Is he going to be yet another dude that Derek Carr makes rich, or do you think we'll be able to keep him?
I
think he likes being a Raider.
I think we'll be able to keep him because I don't know that he would get the amount of playing time with another team. I think they would. Hey, what the fuck are you doing?
Soto, I'm the one on vacation. You're supposed to be the home base here.
Get out of here.
Goddamn cats.
Hey. Get out of here.
You just do not know how to handle your pussy.
I got double pussy over here. Hey, relax. Man, I think he likes being a Raider number 1. I think he has a really good relationship with not only the wide receiver room, but the coaches and the quarterback. And I think that he has a lot of trust in that organization right now. I think this is the first time he's been used as a wide receiver. He's mainly been like a 4th, 5th guy and a special teams guy. But now they're using him.
That's what he's supposed to be. Well, that's what he was this season until Hunter and Darren went down, right? Like, yeah. He was brought in to be that guy.
Yeah, he's shown to be somebody who's extremely reliable, which is good.
Who impressed you the most today? Like played above how they normally play. And it could be it could be Jacobs or something like that.
You know who really impressed me, honestly, and it's like a Captain Obvious thing, but like we've been missing this. We missed it against Arizona. We missed it against Jacksonville. We missed it against the Chiefs. Is Maxx Crosby getting the sacks late in the game? That's what we missed.
Officially 1.5 sacks today.
That's what we missed late in the game. Is that we haven't had it since Khalil Mack was the closer. Like, all right, we need to freaking get a stop right here. And before, I mean, there's other guys too, like Nichols and Billings on the inside. Super impressed with those guys because, hey man, Kenneth Walker, that dude's a fucking stud. That guy's a fucking stud, and we balled his ass up, which was huge. Yeah. But on
run defense came up big today, real big.
It's kind of like what I was talking to this guy at the bar when I was watching a World Cup game. My brother came to visit from San Diego to just catch up, watch some soccer or whatever. I'm not really even as big into soccer. He is more than I am. And he's like, "Oh, USA almost won this match or whatever," some bullshit he was saying. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, "Look, man, same thing I told you. I said USA doesn't have any players, and they have good get you in situations and stuff, but they don't have those difference maker guys. And those difference maker guys, sacks at the end of a fourth quarter mean a lot more than sack in the second quarter. And I was telling my buddy Brian was over. Our buddy Brian was over here watching the game with me. And I said, "Oh, look at Max in that wide 9 technique." He was like way out wide. He was like outside of the slot receiver. He was that wide out. And he went in and he got that sack. Or that wasn't the sack. That was the hit where it caused an incomplete pass that caused the fourth down. And that's what you need from him. Sacks, this is a big play. We need to get to the quarterback. And we've been missing that where he gets pressures and he does that, but not always in the big moments. And he did it in the big moments today.
I want our run defense to be like top 10, and I want Billings to be the head of that, just so we can say that like when they run into it, they're running into the billing department. It's too easy.
Oof.
They're dealing with the billing department.
I hope you didn't spend a lot of time. I hope you didn't spend a lot of mental energy on that one.
I did.
It's tough.
Easily.
Oh,
I'm gonna forget where I left my car keys for the next 2 weeks because I used up so much brain power to come.
God damn. But the offensive line did really well today. They run blocked well. I mean, I was very impressed by the blocking of the wide receivers downfield. Like, you don't get long runs like that without blocking from everybody. Especially the 30-yard run where he had to wiggle in between a bunch of people and hit it. But yeah, the blocking today was really, really, really good.
Well, there's two people, Bentley the Gent and hey, let him fight for a little bit. At least two people liked it.
2 out of the 98 in this freaking chat. Sweet.
Right? There's enough people that have sat in shitty cubicles at shitty corporations doing shitty shit for long enough. They're like, billing department. Okay.
Just a moment.
We can't do a show without talking about Davante Adams.
Or Illuminor's weekly red zone false start.
Right?
Motherfucker. God
That's
damn.
a billing department that cost us. So Davante Adams today, semi-quiet by Davante Adams standards. 7 receptions, 74 yards. He had a 28-yarder, targeted 11 times. Had 1.5 drops. Had 2 really, really good catches. There was one that got us to 3rd and 1 where he just dove like.
The diving one was good.
Oh, fucking just gorgeous, right?
But the defender was grabbing his arm and he trapped it against his body. That was that was delicious.
Standard operating procedure, not getting a pass interference call, even though the DB's just like
pulling his hand down.
Western style grip, just jerking his wrist down. He's still catching it one hand. Beautiful. A couple beautiful catches by Davante. And this was one of those but he had decent numbers, but it was also, we should start calling them Chandler Jones games where you have all the intangibles, Mm-hmm. The big one was that flea flicker where all the DBs went to Davante and Matt Collins was wide open. Davante had a couple pretty good blocks on some of the Josh Jacobs big runs too.
Dude. No block, really, no rock.
He had like a decent numbers game and a really, really good intangible game.
Yeah, this is the thing is you have to have everyone do their job. At least somewhat. You don't have to win your block 100%, but at least do some of your job. Alex Fitzgerald, two bad defenses, Super Bowl
wins. Two people have 100 like RJ's Buildings comment. I guess we're even now.
I guess so.
I had a bad pun. You had a bad stat. Fake news Soto strikes. Bad joke RJ strikes.
Okay, if you want, I will do some research and we will go forward and see how many bad defense. Okay, what would you consider a bad defense outside the top 10?
Well, bad is below average, right? 17th or below in points per game.
If you're going to move the goalpost, then all right.
Move the goal. So the 11th ranked defense, you're going to say is bad.
So are we talking average or are we talking good? Oh, here we go.
No. The argument was bad.
Go ahead.
Oh, they're back. They changed their name to 69mega.com. Want to find love?
You want to get that? Hey,
I've been a Raider fan 30 years. I've been looking for love for 3 decades. So yes, that's your answer.
So Tombstone Nation for life. So we bringing back Carr? Question mark. I don't have a problem bringing back Carr. I don't want to bring him back at $36 million. The number is way too high. Way too high. If we can redo the contract where we can put a lot of it into like bonuses or shit like that, we got the cash. But I mean, we can't bring him back for $36 million. And I think RJ agrees with that too. We got too many.
Well, it's the same thing we talked about at the very beginning of the show of, would you rather tank and have like a top 5 or go 8 and 9? Well, it's like, well, if this offense is jiving, Waller, Renfro come back, we're crushing it. The whole offense is understanding McDaniel's scheme. The offensive line continues to progress the way that it has. If all that happens and that means we don't get a top 5 pick, then you kind of have to bring back Carr at that point, hopefully at a lower price point. And with Carr having the no trade clause in his deal, it's a weird situation because it's like you can only offload him if he's down with it because he's got that trump card, right? So again, I keep sounding like I'm giving cop out answers, and maybe I am, but the way this offense performs moving forward is going to answer those questions for us. It's like, do we trade Waller? Do we move on from Carr? Do we draft quarterback? Do we trade for all that depends on how this offense jives moving forward, because that's the entire goal of the rest of the season, right? And I'm just using offense as an example, defense even more so, right? Because they're worse. But it's like if they start jiving and it's simply a matter of what we thought it was, it just takes a while to grasp. And I've always been this way, Soto. Like everyone who's been listening to the show for long enough knows it's not so much what you did or what you're doing, it's what direction are you going? Are you improving? Are you getting better? Like I'm a sociopath. I treat players and coaches like stocks. How are you trending? Am I buying low and I'm going to sell high later? Or, hey, people think this guy's worth more than he is now. Let's move on. Like I said with Jacobs preseason, that's what it comes down to. And that's the answer with Carr. Is if it's not jiving by the end of the season, there's some big decisions to be made. And those decisions will know more so depending on how high our draft pick is. If we're within striking distance of one of these 5-star quarterbacks, you have to go with a 5. You have to, even if you think Carr's the guy. Just value, just like draft capital wise. Value. There's nothing more valuable than a top 5 quarterback on a rookie deal. Like you got to make those.
So let's say Carr keeps going. He broke the streak. He popped his cherry. It's like 700 and some odd days without 3 touchdowns. He got 3 touchdowns today. Great. Let's say he builds off that to the end of the year, which he definitely can. Okay. Step 1, rework this fucking deal. All right. You don't want to do that? Okay, we got to trade your ass.
And Carr's the guy that would. He proved it last season, right?
We'll see. We'll see.
The guy that at least would be open to it more than most quarterbacks.
Okay, let's get you some money, but let's, non-guaranteed money so we can, drop you for $6 million, I think. Oh shit, Kylie Hansen. Who's that?
That's why I was giggling. I was just waiting for Soto's perverted
ass. First off, I am a man of the people. If Kylie needs her cherry popped, I will, on behalf of the Windbags, the unmarried Windbag, I will humbly accept.
I'd hate to break it to you, Soto, I don't think Kylie Hansen's cherry is intact. I think it's been popped.
You can't tell me that it has or hasn't. I don't know.
I can.
All
I can.
of our
I can by that comment.
I trust all of our listeners and subscribers. I think they're all of the highest quality. So
they're all angels.
Just like last week when you tried to say that Carlos was slutting out his girlfriend to us, Carlos and Fuego. I said, no, she's a lovely lady, and I'm sure she's a
I was
very
trying
fine
to
woman.
decipher the verbiage.
There's no deciphering this verbiage.
Yeah.
Kylie Hansen wants me to, trust me, honey. I trust you. I do. Slide into that DM. See what's up.
The numbers. We put up 40 points without Waller and Renfro. Yes. It required one of the greatest running
Herculean effort.
What was that?
A Herculean effort. It not only required that effort from Josh Jacobs, it required that effort and performance by our offensive line, which is not typical. That's the type of performance you would get from like
Josh Jacobs
top
was
flight offensive
7.5
line,
and he played like a 10. Our O-line is a 4 and they played like a 7. Like everyone had to play
way up
3 or 4 points above where they are for this to happen, right? And you're right. I mean, you're right. Like it is indisputable fact, right? We put up 40 points, including overtime, right? So it's 67 minutes of football, whatever the number was, and we did. You're right. Like this offense is capable of doing that. It required multiple things. It required Josh McDaniels' best display of play design, in my opinion, of the season. Josh Jacobs, one of the best running back performances of the season. Any team, top 10 running back performances of the season. Not just the numbers he got, but how he got them. The defense still trash, but like big splash moments that we needed. So let's not be so quick to say like, oh yeah, let's like flitter away a guy that's potentially a top 3 tight end and a top 3 slot receiver. Like it's not like that. Sean, Carr's making $25 million this year. You guys can't possibly be that high to conclude not worth $25 million. Yeah, 25 this year.
36 next year.
36.
42.
That's
so it's
the question.
30, and look,
that's what we're talking about.
And that shit becomes guaranteed 3 days after the season ends.
Mm-hmm.
3 days after the Super Bowl. So not only are you committed to him for this next year for 36, you got 2 more for 41 and change. You're on the hook for that too.
That's the big question.
So I changed my name on here just in case anybody wanted to get at me. Mr. Wonderful 42, just in case anyone wanted to hit me up.
Juan, you are so horned up right now.
I'm not horned up. I'm just not going to throw away an opportunity. I don't know about you guys, but
you're not going to throw away an opportunity to get catfished by some 60-year-old dude who found a picture of some chick on Instagram.
It's fine. It's fine. I
seriously,
just let me have my fantasy.
So, what are the odds this is a real chick and that's the actual person, Kylie Hansen? What are the odds?
Probably 0.
Okay,
probably 0, but you never know.
I'm down for the fantasy if I'm at a strip club and she's telling me like how hot I am and like.
Yeah, but this fantasy is free.
Yeah, but it's not tangible.
Whatever. But look, I'm down if we can figure out a way to make Derek Carr's cap hit $25 million next season, A-okay, because we can do a lot of fine work with that $11 million.
Can we just say fuck your decibel meter, 12th man?
God, they were loud though.
Dude, CBS is just like jerking off like the Seahawks fans. It's like, oh, look at the decibel meter. Look how hot. Fuck right off. Come on. Is there one fan base that jerks himself off more than the Seahawks and don't deserve to?
Steve the Cockfighter 1. Mariota and Gino are doing better than Matt Ryan and Russell on their former teams. There's no need to pay Carr all that money and going forward for a 4-17. Bring in PJ Walker and rebuild the roster. I'm not opposed to it, man. If we have to pay him $36 million this year plus 41 and change the following 2 seasons, it's not worth it, man. It's just not worth it. He's a great leader. He's a great, he plays great in stretches. He's just not worth it, man.
Well, just on the Mariota, Ryan, Geno, Russell thing real quick. Matt Ryan is still a better quarterback than Marcus Mariota. Ryan's just on a much shittier team that is tanking up until they played us, right? They were tanking until Jeff Saturday was hired. Geno, like, give you know how I always say with GMs and with I reckon that's a trans. Yeah. Soto's still down for it.
God damn it, Leather Raider, quit calling me out like that.
How do you know Soto so well? And you only know him through YouTube. I will say this though. The Seahawks, you know how I always say how like GMs like and head coaches that have like personnel decisions, no one is great. Some are terrible, but no one's like perfect. Like, all right, there's no one GM that's like great in the draft. The Seahawks had an amazing draft this season. Like ridiculous. They have 5 rookies
If you want to,
that are playing amazing. Like the Seahawks, you know how like when the Raiders traded Khalil Mack, like at the time I thought the value we got for him and the cap space, I'm like, okay, I made peace with it. I'm okay with this move because of the value we got. And then we just threw away the draft picks on shitty drafts. What the Seahawks did with Russell Wilson, they've maximized their defensive people they brought up. The tackle they drafted has yet to give up a sack. A rookie starting tackle.
They got 2 rookie tackles playing today.
And they're all playing lights out.
Yeah.
Like the Seahawks are going to, like, if they can get decent quarterback play, let's say like an above average quarterback, they're going to be a problem for years to come. Like they turned Russell Wilson. That's going to go down as one of the greatest, like biggest one-sided trades in the history of football.
Dude, they can make,
they turned it into, and how the Broncos just like threw every dime in the world at him. It's going to completely fall apart.
So if the Broncos go the way they're going, right? Seattle can be a playoff team this year and have a top 3 pick next year.
Mm.
It's crazy. It's absolutely nuts. Look, I see a lot of stuff on here about staying the course and stuff like that. I have no problem with it, but you also have to realize that there was a lot of smoke and mirrors with different parts of this team, and there's a lot more. You're seeing it throughout the league. You don't necessarily have to have a top flight quarterback to win games. You need to have a quarterback that doesn't make mistakes and who can make the throw every now and then when they're asked to. It's for me, it's not the highs and lows. I mean, it is the highs and lows. It's not that Derek Carr is not good enough, because he's shown that he can be. It's the inconsistency with that. That's why I don't think. I think RJ agrees. That's not worth $36 million this year, plus on the hook for a couple of more years for over 40.
Sean, they say it takes a full year and an offseason to learn NFL offense. McDaniel's is supposed to be extremely difficult. Last week, he put up 500 yards on the best defense in the NFL, 600 a day. That's literally what I'm talking about. Progression. Are we progressing? Right? Season's over. Are we progressing? This is basically the rest of the season is like the longest preseason schedule in the history of football. That's how I'm viewing it, right? And individual players are, but they're also playing it differently too, because their careers are, on the line for this season, right? Like Josh Jacobs is, whether we franchise tag him or extend him or someone picks him up, like Jacobs is getting paid next season, right?
Yeah, I keep seeing Caleb Williams' name. Look, he's going to be the first fucking player taken in next year's draft, not the 2023 draft. He's going to be in the 2024 draft, and he will be the first player taken. So unless something really crazy happens next year, we're not going to have that pick. Yeah. Big ups to whoever does, though, because that's going to be a great pick. Hey, look at that. They found a girl for me.
Soto, you're wrangling yourself up a 3-way today.
Bro,
Mega.com.
Everything is coming up Soto today.
We found a girl for you. See, I wonder if this is pure spam or if they're actually listening to us and coming up with their swindles. Looks like we found a girl for you.
I don't know. Where's this Kaylee chick at? Kylie.
She's
Trust me, honey. Come on, Kylie, where you at? Show me that you're real.
You should get that as a trap stamp tattooed right above your ass.
I'm
Kylie Hansen's face. Trust me, honey.
Real love.
All right, Soto. Before we get out of here,
yes, sir.
Top 5 individual performances ranked
today.
today. Number 1, Josh Jacobs.
Josh
Easy.
Jacobs, number 1. Number 2 is Maxx Crosby, man.
Okay.
The pressures and the timing of it. The timing of the pressures, the sacks, just they were on big downs and big situations. So that's 2.
Denzel Perryman, 3.
He made
9
that one
tackles,
play.
2 tackles for loss, and interception.
I would say our interior defensive line more than anything, because that was huge. If we had let Kenneth Walker get off, it wouldn't have been a good day for us. I don't know if we would have won that game.
So what?
3, 4 would have been Derek Carr. Derek Carr started
Carr.
off really shaky, but he did engineer that drive at the end of the game to tie the game. That was a great pass at the end of the game. I mean, if you want to call him leading an overtime victory when he handed the ball off to Jacobs.
I was just going to say, how pissed are you that he gets 9-1 in overtime when it was one hand?
I'm not pissed at all. We got the win. But the thing is if you're going to give him the interception, and the stat is the stat. You know, you can try to explain it away all you want, but the stat is the stat. Okay.
Derek Carr, 25 of 36, 295 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He was really good in evading sacks. He only got sacked once today. One, mostly because the pass defense, I think, was their pass blocking was the best of the season. You say last game, I think it was today.
We'll figure it out.
I'm not.
They're both equal. I'll take either one. They're both good.
It's 1A, 1B, however you want to roll with it. But he was moving well in the pocket. I think he should get credit for that. A couple fucking dimes as well. And we said that matters or wins.
So number 5, what do we say number 5 is going to be?
Well, where's Perryman and where's the D line? Because
I would say D line 3, because that was huge. Perryman made that one play.
He had 9 tackles and 4 tackles for a loss. It was more than just that pick.
Okay, he'll be fine. He'll be fine.
He had a good game, and he did it with not the same snap count as the rest of the top 5. Right? Carr played every down, but Jacobs played every down minus Did Zamir White? Was it literally only 2 offensive plays? No, that's not true. Amir Abdullah had a bunch as well.
Yeah, Amir Abdullah had a bunch. He had that long touchdown.
He had a good game. He had a really good kickoff return too.
Yep.
Really good kickoff return that turned into points. The touchdown. Abdullah had a good game too.
I got another one over here. The number says AJ Cole with the overtime coin call. 2 in a row, baby.
I literally tweeted it. I was like, right before the coin toss, when regulation ended, I was like, all right, this is where AJ Cole makes his money. The coin flip.
Did I not give Carr his credit?
Yeah, you begrudgingly gave him 50% of the credit he deserved.
How did I begrudgingly give him credit? I said, he was what, 4 behind the obvious 2, and the defensive line was huge. Carr also turned the ball over twice. Let's not forget that. He played a good game though. He played a really good game.
I mean, how bad do you want to have Kylie Hansen in the top 5 performances?
We'll see.
Trust me, honey.
We'll see if she's in the top 5 performance. We'll see what her performance is like. I'll make a tape out of it if we ever make it happen.
All right. Well, the Raiders don't look now on a fucking win streak, baby. 2-game win streak.
What do we got?
Seahawks put up 34 points, not enough. Raiders put up 40 in overtime, beat up our old AFC West rival, Seattle Seahawks. Josh Jacobs went absolutely bonkers. Maxx Crosby came up clutch when he needed to. Offensive line, one of if not the best performance of this season so far for them. And the defense, still trash, but splashed in ways that give us a little bit of a promise moving forward. So we'll dissect this a lot more. I can't wait to see the good and the bad and the ugly out of Soto for today's game. Curious what that's going to look like. That'll come out either Monday or Tuesday. And all the big news and things coming out, we will make sure to keep you abreast of everything that goes on, including Soto getting catfished. But until then, knock on wood if you're with me.